The day before going abroad, my childhood friend warned me not to fall in, of not to skip classes, and not to get into fights. Afterward, she shoved a piece of paper into my hands, telling me to open it whenever I missed her. On it was written that when I returned, we would get married, but after, went abroad to study. I became bound to a system and found out that my fiancé back home was keeping a young man who looked very much like me. Following the development of the plot, by the time I returned to the country, the female lead would have already fallen in love with him. Even my friends would take his side to criticize me, while I would instead turn into one who shouldn't have returned. So why? I made a decision before rushing back to the country. I first opened an art exhibition, abroad to network with masters, then started promoting my own works while unceasingly socializing with several seniors in a quiet manner, causing the other party to willingly and voluntarily promote my works for me and guide me. It took me less than 3 months to transform myself into a rising star, even receiving invitations from prestigious circles and a rush of booking requests from big shots. My personal value multiplied overnight. The system started losing its calm. Host, shouldn't you return to the country? Now supposedly at this moment the host should have discovered the female lead already, right? I looked at the watch and asked the system, have the male and female leads gotten together yet? Not clearly. If I don't return to the country, then they can't independently push the plot and develop their feelings, right? I already intentionally created an opportunity for them, didn't I? The system was speechless. Bak Ngungbang, seeing media news written about me, lightly furrowed brows, knocked on the office door of Liu Nuyin and walked in. Bak Ngungbang handed her tablet over. On it was precisely the news of me shining brightly. Broad. Tranfan, didn't you say you were coming back soon? Why are you developing abroad now instead? Could it be that he discovered your affair with Do Tudang, so he's not planning to come back anymore? Seeing my picture and hearing the name, Do Tudang, Liu Nuyin had a brief moment of guilt, feeling extremely unnatural. She flipped the tablet, face down. No way, before you guys sell me out. Bak Ngungbang lightly slapped her once. Sell you out? You did this kind of terrible thing, we both kept it a secret for you, and you still say we sold you out. Did you forget that Tranfan is also a friend of ours, Liu Nuyin? Did you not open your phone to check over the past few months? It seems you haven't contacted him at all. It wasn't like this before. He would always complain to you about things over there, and occasionally make video calls, but lately there's been none at all. You, Do Tudang, what is going on here? If Tranfan finds out, he probably won't come back. Hearing this, Liu Nuyin unconsciously panicked. She naturally wanted me to return. Thinking of this, she hurriedly texted me to ask when I would be back, forgetting that at this time it was the early morning over on my side. Bak Ngungbang, seeing this appearance of Liu Nuyin, was a bit angry. You'd better hurry up and take advantage of the time before Tranfan comes back to settle things with Do Tudang. Otherwise, how you clean up the mess later is your own business. I even have my own business when the two of them face each other. Who do you think you'll side with? Bak Ngungbang glared at her with wide eyes. If you get found out, let's see how you clean up mess. Bak Ngungbang, Liu Nuyin, and I were all university classmates. Few of us practically got to know each other at the same time. Bak Ngungbang also witnessed the romance between the two of us as a mutual friend of us both. After graduation, Bak Ngungbang and Liu Nuyin together started a business that was doing quite well. The sisterly bond between two naturally ran very deep, but ever since I went abroad, Bak Ngungbang felt the two of them naturally grew very close. But ever since I went abroad, Bak Ngungbang saw that Liu Nuyin had become very strange. So her keeping a male college student was something she especially could not understand. Liu Nuyin even led this person in front of her. She both felt it was not worth it for me, and also felt pity for Do Tudang. My career on this side was also flourishing, and my studies were completed, so I announced to everyone during an interview that I was soon returning to the country. The system looked at my appearance and felt that this matter was especially like an eagle telling a little chick, I am coming to catch you. Bak Ngungbang, upon seeing this news, took the initiative to go look for Do Tudang. Why are you here? Do Tudang was working part-time at Seoul coffee shop. His mother was sick and hospitalized, needing a lot of money. Although Liu Nuyen had helped pay the bills, Do Tudang didn't want to owe Liu Nuyen, so still kept running around doing part-time jobs everywhere, wanting to earn money to pay off his debt. Bak Ngungbang ordered a cup of coffee. At this hour, the shop didn't have many people, so she started talking to Do Tudang. Tudang, leave Liu Nuyen, go. Do Tudang was stunned, lowering his head, his eye sockets slightly reddened. I know what I'm doing is not right, but I have no other choice. I need money. I will help you. I can give you money. If you feel awkward, just consider it as me lending it to you, and you can pay me back later. I guarantee that your mother will still receive careful treatment. Do Tudang twisted his apron. No, it's not the same. Sister Ngungbang, oh, you're a good person, but I can't accept your money. Bak Ngungbang felt a bit anxious, not understanding the point of Do Tudang rejecting her. Where does it lie? You can accept Liu Nuyen's money, but Do Tudang raised his head, glaring at Bak Ngungbang with an expression as if he had been humiliated. Bak Ngungbang, I didn't mean it that way. But you should understand Liu Nuyen. She already has a fiancé, and they love each other very much. You sticking in the middle like this, what does that make you? Do Tudang bit his lip. Hard his complexion, turning pale. I know I'm wrong, but I have no other way out. I can't leave. I said I could help you. Tudang, I can help you. Whatever Liu Nuyen can do for you, I can do it as well. So you don't need to bear the stigma of being kept like this. Isn't that much better? Do Tudang lowered his head, forcefully tearing his apron apart. Bak Ngungbang said she wanted to lend him money. He should have been happy about it, but he didn't want to leave Liu Nuyen. Bak Ngungbang watched for a moment, suddenly frowning. You don't mean to tell me you've fallen for Liu Nuyen, do you? Do Tudang immediately shook his head. No, I don't. How could I possibly like her? I don't. Really don't. Bak Ngungbang frowned, remaining silent. Do Tudang hurriedly grabbed Bak Ngungbang's hand. Sister Ngungbang, I know you're very good, but I already owe Liu Nuyen too much money. Can't owe you any more. I don't like Liu Nuyen at all. Know it clearly. She only treats me as a substitute. I know, so I won't have any other thoughts. Sister, believe me. Looking at the man, the gloomy gaze before her, Bak Ngungbang felt a slight wave of emotion in her heart. But she still pulled her hand out of Do Tudang's. Tranfan is coming back soon. Tudang, think it over carefully yourself. Do Tudang stood stunned in place. He naturally knew who Tranfan was. That was the name Liu Nuyen often cried out whenever she was drunk, the world that he could never touch. But the moment that person appeared, Liu Nuyen would immediately abandon him and leave, because that was Liu Nuyen's fiancé. Liu Nuyen naturally also saw my interview and knew I was coming back soon. She was very agitated. At the same time, she also remembered Bak Ngungbang's words, so she arranged to meet Do Tudang right at the apartment she had provided for Do Tudang. Do Tudang had finished making dinner, overflowing with joy, waiting for Liu Nuyen to come find him, waiting until the person arrived. He instead saw the other party hand him a contract. I will follow the agreement, give you a sum of money. This apartment will also be given to you. Our relationship comes to an end here, and I will arrange the hospital side properly. You don't need to worry. Do Tudang tightly clenched the contract in his hands, his eye sockets brimming with water, unwillingly asking a question. Why? Liu Nuyen, completely without a hint of hesitation, opened her mouth. He is back. Do Tudang felt his heart bleeding. 2 years of his youth. The other party didn't even have a trace of reluctance. Could it be that he truly was only a substitute? Liu Nuyen didn't say anything, gently furrowing her brows with a bit of impatience, wanting to leave away. Do Tudang hurriedly grabbed the hem of her clothes, raising his head, using a gaze almost resembling pleading to look at her. Can you satisfy one final request of mine? Liu Nuyen didn't speak, but also didn't brush Do Tudang's hand away. Do Tudang felt heartbroken beyond words, speaking with a somewhat choked voice. I want to organize a birthday party for you one more time. Can I? Liu Nuyen thought for a moment. Her birthday. was precisely next week, while I was only coming back next month, so it seemed it wouldn't affect anything. Thus, she readily agreed. Do Tudang was overflowing with joy, booking a KTV private room ahead of time, meticulously decorating the inside in all sorts of ways, while even inviting Liu Nyuyen's friends to attend. Do Tudang told himself in his heart that after eating this birthday meal, he would thoroughly leave and take his mother back to their hometown so that Liu Nyuyen could never find him again. The birthday party was very crowded, and they were all friends of Liu Nyuyen. She naturally wouldn't put on that kind of face. Ha himself sat by her side, just like a male host, busy welcoming and greeting guests. She didn't notice anything unusual, but the expression of Bak Ngungbang sitting nearby wasn't very good. Right at the very end, when preparing to blow out the candles, everyone started asking, "Give a kiss. Give a kiss. Kiss, kiss." Quickly, Do Tudang's face turned completely red, dodging the gaze of the others. Liu Nyuyen felt it was so pointless, although she did bring someone along to the point of even holding hands they hadn't yet. So how could she kiss him? Few guys deliberately shouted, "Kiss quickly, boss. Are you shy? That's right. Kiss quickly." Oh. Liu Nyuyen lowered her head to look. Do Tudang beside her. He was wearing a white suit, his face faintly red, anxious, with his gaze somewhat evasive. Light shining down on him suddenly made her feel that the boy in front of her was so pure it made one feel a bit moved. Do Tudang met gaze with Liu Nyuyen. The atmosphere between the two suddenly turned ambiguous. Right at this moment, the room door suddenly was pushed open. I also, in a white suit, stepped in. Oh, I really came late, everyone, while anticipating a good drama, was also secretly complaining that Liu Nyuyen's taste in people was too poor. These two placed side by side, how were they alike at all? I just glanced at Liu Nyuyen once, then appraised female lead's appearance. Compared to the person in my memory, she had matured much more. Looking back at the male lead, I couldn't help but smile. Another innocent white rabbit, but he really looked a lot like the original host. However, over past period, I had integrated my own aura into the original host's body, plus several years of roaming and training outside, making me increasingly composed and steady. Therefore, right, the two of them looked completely different. Seeing no one speaking, I raised an eyebrow and asked, not welcoming me. The words hadn't even finished when I fell into an embrace. I raised my head to look past the shoulder of the other person. Liu Nyuyen's position had been empty out of nowhere. Falling into a field of vision was only Do Tudang with a face overflowing with sorrow and sadness. Liu Nyuyen hated not being able to embed the person in front. Looks as if she wished she could drag the person in front of her to death, boiling with jealousy and rage. He had no idea how much she had missed him. Everyone watching this scene became even more confused. Few girls gathered together, whispering softly, their gazes directed toward Do Tudang, brimming with contempt and mockery. The face that had been blushing red turned pale in a flash, and Do Tudang could barely stand anymore, retreating backward a few steps before being supported by Bak Ngungbang. All right, that's enough. We didn't come here to eat dog food, you know. That's right, Liu Nyuyen, if you want to be clingy, then go home. What else? A few friends chimed in to tease. Liu Nyuyen let go of me, raising her head to look at my face with a gaze overflowing with excitement and love. Hearing what everyone said, she tightly grabbed my hand immediately, planning to leave. Hey, are you really leaving? Ready? Don't we barely got out to hang out together? Besides, we also want to catch up with Tranfan. How long has it been since we last met? That's right, you can't hog him all to yourself. A few people spoke as they rushed forward to snatch me out of Liu Nyuyen's embrace and took turns greeting me. I smiled and answered everyone's questions, after chatting with each person. One by one, I happened to be pushed right in front of Bak Ngungbang. I looked at her, smiled, and spread open my arms. Bak Ngungbang looked at me, approaching her mind somewhat panicked. What's wrong, old Bino Huji? Hearing the familiar form of address, Bak Ngungbang burst out, laughing, opening her arms and pulling me into a tight embrace. A faint scent of grass and trees brushed against my nose. I hugged her tightly, speaking softly. I really missed you a lot. Bach Ngungbang stiffened, somewhat flustered, lifting her head to see that the people around were all smiling and watching them without any other strange reactions, and she couldn't help starting to wonder if she had just misheard or not. Lu Nuyin saw us hugging without letting go and lightly furrowed her brows, stepping forward to pull me out of Bach Ngungbang's arms. All right, that's enough hugging, like that is enough. Realizing the empty embrace, Bach Ngungbang clasped her somewhat disappointed hands together. Oh, she's even jealous. Now Liu Nuyin, that jealous vine look of yours looks too pitiful. Liu Nuyin glared at them fiercely. Without a word, only tightening her grip on me with overflowing possessiveness, I smiled, listening to them tease. My gaze had already turned toward the male lead, who was on the verge of crying. This friend here, I've never met him before, who is he? I looked at everyone, waiting for them to introduce him. The atmosphere that had been lively suddenly fell into silence. Everyone looked a bit awkward and turned their faces away, only a few girls putting on an expression of watching a good show and looking at me with meaningful eyes. Seeing this, I turned my head back to look at Liu Nuyin with an extremely naive and trusting face. Liu Nuyin met my gaze, her heart overflowing with shame and unease, and she turned to look toward Bach Ngungbang over there. Bach Ngungbang had already taken Do Tudang's hand, her expression somewhat unnatural. He's my boyfriend. Hearing that, I widened my eyes in shock. Old Bai, someone finally managed to reel you in. Bach Ngungbang let go of Do Tudang and patted my forehead lightly, saying, "What nonsense are you talking about?" I brushed her hand away and walked up to Do Tudang. "Nice to meet you, I'm Tranfan, Liu Nuyin's fiancé." Do Tudang looked at the fair, slender hand in front of him, with a bit of doubt, extending his own calloused hand. After our hands touched, I withdrew my gaze, casually appraising Do Tudang from top to bottom. "Don't be so stiff, everyone is close friends here. Me and Old Bai have known each other since university. It's been nearly 8 or 9 years. Bach Ngungbang, standing beside us, chimed in. "Nearly 9 years. Already? You went abroad for so long and didn't remember anything at all." I smiled faintly. Why is there such a heavy grudge rising to the heavens? Back then, weren't you all very supportive of me? My somewhat aggrieved tone made Bach Ngungbang's heart flutter, and also reminded her of my words back. It made her recall what I said when continued chatting with Do Tudang. "Unexpectedly, you also like wearing white clothes. Our preferences must be the same, right? Next time, let's go shopping together." Seeing my naive and innocent appearance, the friends all had to turn their faces away, terrified that they couldn't hold back and would blurt out the truth. Liu Nuyin saw me continually chatting with Do Tudang, feeling extremely uncomfortable in her heart, hurriedly pulling me to sit down by her side and lowering her voice to ask me, "Where is my birthday gift?" I tilted my head, teasing, "I came back early. Doesn't that count as a birthday gift?" Liu Nuyin, upon hearing this, smiled and nodded. "It counts." The other people also took turns sitting down, looking at the scene of Liu Nuyin affectionately clinging to me, then looking at Do Tudang beside us, unable to help, collectively furrowing their brows. Halfway through, when I went to the restroom, Liu Nuyin turned to look at Do Tudang, the person who from the very beginning had remained completely silent. "You go back." Do Tudang originally thought he couldn't possibly be any more in pain, never expecting that just a single sentence from Liu Nuyin would once again plunge him into the abyss of agony. "You promised me." Liu Nuyin didn't utter a peep. At this very moment, nothing could be more important than Tranfan. From her expression, Do Tudang could read that thought. He smiled coldly. "Whenever you encounter him, everything else becomes unimportant. Doesn't it?" Liu Nuyin used silence to clearly spell out her attitude. Do Tudang's tears streamed down. A few surrounding friends began persuade him. "Tudang, you should go back first, otherwise later, when Tranfan comes back and sees." Do Tudang's complexion turned deathly pale. Actually, he used to consider these people as friends because they were friends with Liu Nuyin. Every time they met, he treated them with genuine sincerity. remembering the birthdays of each person, and thoughtfully preparing gifts. Yet the moment Tranfan just returned, all of them drove him away. I'm not leaving. You promised to let me celebrate this birthday with you. Do Tudang gritted his teeth, stubbornly clinging to his decision. Liu Nuyen frowned. I don't need you to celebrate my birthday with me. Do Tudang burst into tears, questioning. Yet these past 2 years, it was me accompanying. Right now I only have one sole wish. I just want to spend one final birthday with you. Is even that not allowed? You clearly promised me. Just go. Don't make things awkward. Like this. A girl couldn't hold back and spoke up. The real wife has already returned. Who's still craving a substitute like you? That's right, another girl chimed in, sneering. Do Tudang, you don't even look in the mirror at your own appearance. You fundamentally don't stand a chance compared to the real deal. You refuse to look at yourself in the mirror and instead delude yourself into thinking you can turn an ugly duckling into a white swan. I told you to leave, yet you still brazenly stay here and put on a show. It's truly too despicable. Do Tudang, hearing those harsh words, aggrievedly looked up at Liu Nuyen, but Liu Nuyen, even while frowning, didn't utter a single word to protect him. Do Tudang's heart shattered, the point where it couldn't shatter any further. Bach Ngungbang, hearing these increasingly unbearable insults, couldn't hold back and shouted for them to stop. Afterward, he looked at Do Tudang. I'll take you home, okay? Yet, Do Tudang stubbornly refused to leave. He stepped to Liu Nuyen's side, grabbing her hand. Liu Nuyen, I don't want. Go. Liu Nuyen frowned. All right, just let old Baite take you home. Later, what if Tranfan actually discovers that the outfit you're wearing today is identical to Tranfan's? What if he realizes you're his substitute? I timely pushed the door open and stepped in. Substitute for what? The private room plunged back into a quiet space. Liu Nuyen, the moment she saw me appear, instantly slapped Do Tudang's hand away. That forceful slap was plotted. Do Tudang's hand throbbed with pain. However, his heart didn't have any blood left to shed. His complexion at this moment had turned pale to the extreme. He agonizingly looked at Liu Nuyen, his gaze swimming with deep, profound injuries, and that voice also attracted my attention. And I had witnessed the entire scene of Do Tudang tightly grasping Liu Nuyen's hand. I immediately furrowed my brows, darting my gaze back and forth to appraise. Two of them. Aren't you old Bai's boyfriend? This question caused the atmosphere inside the private room to plunge into a dead silence, with only the background music still playing softly. Liu Nuyen hurriedly stood up and stepped toward me, but I raised my hand to stop her. Stop right there. Liu Nuyen stood frozen in place, looking at me with a gaze full of chaotic, tumbling emotions. I glanced at her, then shifted my gaze toward Bach Ngungbang. Will one of you explain to me what a substitute means? Who is my substitute? Zhang Yao hurriedly lowered her head, only hoping to make herself completely vanish, hoping that no one would remember. She was the one running her mouth just a moment ago. I looked toward Liu Nuyen. She remained silent and didn't say a word. I looked over at Bach Ngungbang instead, only to see Bach Ngungbang lightly biting her lip. I coldly sneered once, then turned my head to find Zhang Yao from the crowd. Zhang Yao, you speak. Who is whose substitute? Zhang Yao was called out by name, so she froze in place for a split second, after which she awkwardly cracked a forced smile. Tranfan, things aren't what you think. Just now, the two of us were just gossiping. Only. Gossiping? Yes, we were just gossiping. You mustn't misunderstand. I let out a soft, cold snort. Do you guys take me for a total idiot? Your reactions look like gossiping. Those people shrunk back, step by step. Looked at Do Tudang. Why don't you let brother go tell everyone whose boyfriend he is? Do Tudang felt his face burning hot, as if his dignity had been trampled into the dirt. I acted as if I had just noticed him, and saw that he looked a lot like me. No wonder, as soon as I entered the door, I felt something was off. Darling, is he really your boyfriend? I swept past the crowd, looking toward Bach Ngungbang. Bach Ngungbang bit her lip for a long time before shaking her head, then shifted her gaze to Liu Nuyen. Then, he is your boyfriend? No, my boyfriend is only you alone. Liu Nuyin hurriedly denied. How shameless of her. I raised my hand and slapped Liu Nuyin across the face. Liu Nuyin's face was knocked sideways. Do Tudang brought his hand to cover his mouth, looking at Liu Nuyin with an expression full of worry. The others also fell completely silent because of this slap. Do me a favor and explain this clearly yourself to your parents and my parents about the scumbag things you've been doing. I truly must have been blind. After speaking, I turned round and ran straight outside. Zhang Yao suddenly stood up, walked quickly up to Liu Nuyin, and shoved her. Hurry up and chase after him. Liu Nuyin only then snapped back to her senses, hurriedly chasing after me. After catching up to me naturally, it was a bunch of explanations. Me and him have nothing going on. I haven't even held hands with him yet, Tranfan, I beg you. Don't be like this, forgive me, okay? I really just had a momentary lapse in judgment. Don't be like this. I am begging you. I just missed you way too much, so I couldn't help it. I raised my hand to cover my ears. I don't want to hear it. Liu Nuyin stopped looking at me coldly. I had never allowed myself to become this pathetic. Liu Nuyin, let's calm down. I don't know if what you're saying right now is true or false anymore. I no longer have any trust left in you. I need some time to think. For the time being, let's not see each other anymore. Liu Nuyin's spine turned freezing cold. Are you planning to abandon me? I turned my back with a somewhat collapsing heart. Then what do you want me to do? I brought back so much joy to celebrate your birthday. What did you do in return? You had someone else, you. Nuyin, it's that you betrayed me, Liu. Nuyin hurriedly pulled me back. I know I was wrong. Trust me. Please forgive me this, once I'm begging. Initially I struggled, but afterwards, I obediently let her hug me. Let's take some time to sort out our emotions. You go handle our complicated relationships, and when that time comes, we'll talk later. Liu Nuyin immediately agreed. Okay, I'll handle it. You wait for me to finish handling it, and we'll talk, promise. Me okay, you'll give me one more chance. I thought for a moment, and then nodded. Bak Ngungbang took Do Tudang home before returning to her apartment along the way her mind was filled with my devastated appearance. Bak Ngungbang felt heartbroken inside. Right from the start, she shouldn't have let Liu Nuyin do this kind of thing. Just as she stepped up to her apartment door, Bak Ngungbang spotted a figure sitting right in front of her house. The white shirt trembled slightly in the cold wind. Bak Ngungbang held her breath, somewhat not daring to believe it, blinking her eyes. That white figure didn't disappear at all. I raised my head and saw Bak Ngungbang frozen in her tracks. I stood up. But because I had been sitting for a long time, my legs were a bit numb and unsteady, causing me to tumble down the steps. Bak Ngungbang hurriedly rushed over to catch me. I powerlessly leaned against Bak Ngungbang's embrace, softly complaining. Why did you only get back up? In this moment, Bak Ngungbang deeply regretted it. She shouldn't have gone to take Do Tudang home, feeling the icy cold arms of the person in her arms. Bak Ngungbang panicked hurriedly, holding me tight, apologizing while helping me inside the apartment. I'll give you a key later next time. You can just go straight in yourself. You didn't even call me. If you had called, I would have come straight back. Bak Ngungbang muttered, while settling me down on the sofa. She ran to her room to grab a blanket and wrapped it around me, then immediately went to the kitchen to boil some water. I sat on the sofa with my head bowed, looking very sad. Bak Ngungbang, while boiling water, looked toward me on the sofa, her eyes overflowing with heartache. The system watched this scene and didn't quite understand. Host Bak Ngungbang is the second female lead. Why did you run over to her place? I lowered my head, my two cold-numbed cheeks turning red, my eye rims also turning red. Hearing the system speak, the corners of my lips twitched. It's not that we don't need to care. Did something go wrong? Of course we have to make her pay the price. System. The system was stunned. She betrayed her friend. How could she not have to pay the price? Of course she has to be made to regret it. In the story, Bak Ngungbang was a mutual friend of the original host and Lu Nuyin, yet seeing Lu Nuyin cheating and playing 2 fields at once, she neither stopped her nor reminded the original host. Even when the original host returned and made Otudang miserable, she still blamed the original host for not staying away. I smiled. How could I possibly let others blame me? Naturally, I have to stand on the moral high ground to blame others instead. Bak Ngungbang handed a cup of water to me, intending to open her mouth to say something, but not knowing how to start. For some reason, right now Bak Ngungbang didn't want to bring up Lu Nuyin at all. I took a sip of warm water to let my body warm up a bit before raising my head to face Bak Ngungbang. The moment Bak Ngungbang looked over, she felt as if she fell into my calm, galaxy-like eyes. She gazed at me in a daze, cautiously sitting down in front of me without moving away. Did you know from the start? Bak Ngungbang snapped back to reality, not daring to look at me, turning her head to the side to avoid my gaze. I instantly understood her hesitation, confirming, "You knew right from the beginning." Bak Ngungbang looked at me, her eyes brimming with guilt and heartache. "So right from the start you knew but didn't tell me. You even helped her lie to me." Bak Ngungbang bit her lip. "I'm sorry." I lowered my head. "Bak Ngungbang, are we still friends?" Bak Ngungbang hurriedly said, "Of course we are friends forever." I raised my head to look at her. In eyes was undisguised disappointment. "So in over these past 2 years, how many text messages did I send you? Did you ever think about telling me even just once?" Bak Ngungbang lowered her head. She had thought about it before. She was afraid I would be sad. She remembered very clearly the glint of light in my eyes when I left to pursue my dreams. That glint of light. If, because of this matter, I abandoned my dreams, Bak Ngungbang couldn't dare to imagine just how much regret I would feel. I know the answer already. I put down the water cup, pushed Bak Ngungbang away, and stood up, preparing to leave. Bak Ngungbang, seeing this, hurriedly pulled my hand back. "Where are you planning to go?" I turned back to look at her, my eyes overflowing with sorrow. "Bak Ngungbang, are you still the Bak Ngungbang I used to know?" Seeing a tear roll down the corner of my eye, Bak Ngungbang sighed and pulled me into her embrace. "I'm sorry. Don't be sad. This is all my fault. I should have stopped her right from the start. I should have stopped her from the very beginning. I should have told you sooner." Was it because I had suppressed myself too much, or because I had forced myself to hold on for too long until when I was pulled into someone's embrace and comforted, I suddenly lost control, aggrievedly bursting out in tears? She didn't know how to reply, only knowing to hold me tight in her chest. The system watched me lean against the second female lead's chest and cry pieces, unable to help clicking its tongue. Seeing the host cry so softly that he passed out, led by the second female lead into the bedroom, the system was still a bit nervous, only to then see the second female lead, as if protecting some kind of precious treasure, gently wiping my face and carefully tucking the blanket around me before tiptoeing outside. Bak Ngungbang woke up the next morning and naturally was already gone. Looking at the breakfast placed on the table, Bak Ngungbang felt her heart warm up. She finished eating the slightly cooled breakfast, sent me a message, and then went to work. After leaving Bak Ngungbang's house, I went straight home and accompanied my parents to meet several elders, among whom were even Lu Nuyin's parents. Xiaofan is all grown up and increasingly handsome. Indeed, it's not just handsome now, he's also a talented scholar. That's right, Elder Chu. In the future, you two elders can enjoy your blessings. I hooked my arm around my mother's, on my lips always maintaining a proper smile. Hearing the elders' praise, I only smiled faintly. You flatter me too much. They're just things the media randomly writes about. Still, you're a good son. Look at Xiaofan, he even knows. Follow along and keep everyone company. Unlike that brat of mine, who doesn't even know where she ran off. I can't even find her. Ha ha ha. That's right, it's still a son who is as considerate as a little hand warmer. Right, that stinky girl. Mine never thinks about following me around. Every time I want to find her, her figure is nowhere to be seen. Saiji, I suppose I should also give birth to a son. It's not like every family that gives birth to a son is like that. Didn't everyone see the Chu family's boy over there, dressing up in such a flashy, ridiculous way every single day? I bet Madam Chu is about to die of anger. When all is said and done, it's still the Tran family that has the blessing. Isn't that right? I constantly stayed right by my parents' side, playing the role of a little hand warmer to perfection, both obedient and sensible, causing quite a few elders to lavishly praise me. Lu Nyuyin's parents, upon hearing the people around them asking about me, had smiles plastered all over their faces. I suppose they'll be getting married soon. Before this, the delay was because Xiaofan had to go abroad for further studies. Yes, the youngsters have freedom in love, so as parents, we don't interfere much, we just support them. There's no such thing as them not being matched. The youngsters truly love each other. Originally Lu Nyuyin's mother wasn't pleased with me going abroad for further studies, but right at this moment she felt immensely proud of my excellence. She brought up this future son-in-law with a look of complete satisfaction. Whenever others came to inquire, she would always say their wedding was close at hand. Anyone looking would see the image of a very full of satisfaction. When others came to ask, she always said their marriage was imminent. Anyone looking could see the image of a very eager, approving son-in-law. Naturally, I also seized the opportunity to go over and greet Lu's father and Lu's mother privately, while also expressing that I brought gifts from abroad for the two of them, and whenever I came by to visit, next time I would bring them directly as a gift. Lu's father was very satisfied with this polite future son-in-law. He nodded and then yielded the right to speak to his wife. Lu's mother, of course, was extremely pleased, pulling a hand to affectionately give a few words of instruction, until someone came looking for Lu's father. She reluctantly let me go. When the banquet was drawing to a close, I finally met the person I wanted to see. So Odu, the sugar mommy of Lu Nyuyin, 29 years old this year, only 4 years older than Nyuyin. This was an intimate banquet. The guests were all close friends, and mostly around the age of the parents of the Tran family. Only I and So Odu belonged to the youngest generation. When I found So Oda, she was lying down, sunbathing on a lounge chair on the second floor with a book covering her face. Hearing movement, So Odu opened her eyes, took the book off her face, and raised her head to look up, immediately seeing a man wearing a white suit standing right in front of her, his eyes staring intently at her chest. So Oda slightly furrowed her brows, pulling the book, her hand down a little bit. So Oda was somewhat displeased, arching her brow, intending to chase the person away, but then caught sight of the exquisite collarbone, faintly visible beneath my slightly wide collar. A gust of wind swept past, causing So Oda to see the front lapels of my shirt part into a narrow gap. Those sharp contours formed an extremely beautiful curve under the light, exuding an indescribable charm. So Odu's Adam's apple bobbed, her fingertips unconsciously rubbing against the book cover. I leaned forward slightly, and my collar slipped down along my shoulder, making the edgy collarbone outline casually clear. I smiled and asked, "So Odu, do you also like this book? I've run through several bookstores and still haven't been able to buy a copy of this. Could you lend it to me to read for a bit?" So Odu sat up straight from the lounge chair without any hesitation, handing over the book in her hand. "Sure." I revealed a look of delight, hurriedly extending both hands. When receiving the book, I accidentally brushed against So Odu's hand. When pulling her hand back, So Odu couldn't help rubbing the tip of her nose, where the tip of her nose suddenly brushed past a faint scent of tobacco, hugged the book, and sat down right opposite. So Odu, first opening the book to read for a moment before closing the book and looking up at So Odu. "Ah, that's right, my name is Tranfan. What is your name?" So Odu slightly raised her eyebrows, thinking inwardly, "Is this a coincidence in names, or is it actually that Tranfan?" So Odu My eyes lit up, taking out my phone. Let's exchange contact information. Then once I finish reading this book, I'll treat Lawyer So to a meal. So Odu looked at the opposite person because his sitting posture caused his shirt collar to part, slightly revealing a perfectly horizontal collarbone curve that was faintly visible, making a restless feeling suddenly well up in her heart. So Oda shifted slightly, trying to hide the thoughts in her heart, taking out her phone to add the contact information of the opposite person. After successfully getting the contact, I completely reassuredly leaned back into the chair, flipping open the book in my hand, my lips curving up slightly, as if truly captivated by this book. So Odu also didn't leave and just sat opposite me like that, her gaze occasionally sweeping across sharp curves of the collarbone area. Only I remained completely oblivious. Just like that, the two people quietly sat there, one reading a book, the other admiring the view, until my mother called my name, and I stood up to leave. Once I finish reading, I'll treat you to dinner. I rolled up the book in my hand, waiting until my figure disappeared from view, so Odu finally suppressed the surging feeling in her heart. Returning from the banquet, I obediently stayed home reading books until I finished reading this book, at which point I opened my mailbox. Inside the mailbox were the documents I asked a private detective to investigate. Regarding Do Tudang, his mother suffered from leukemia because there was no matching bone marrow for a transplant. Currently is still hospitalized undergoing chemotherapy, and all of this expense, naturally, is paid for by Lu Nuyin. Seeing Do Tudang's address and viewing the daily routine report sent by the detective, I knew today he worked part-time at a coffee shop, so I tracked him down. Welcome, valued customer, how may I help you today? When Do Tudang raised his head, the smile on his face froze upon seeing the person before him. He had met me once before. I looked at him a few times, then found a seat by the window. Give me a latte. Do Tudang snapped back to reality. Yes, sir, please. Wait a moment. While making the coffee, Do Tudang occasionally stole glances at me. He had to admit that the person opposite was extremely graceful, with an elegant demeanor completely different from his own. But when thinking of Lu Nuyin's face, Do Tudang's complexion grew pale once more. Do Tudang brought the freshly brewed cup of coffee over and placed it before me. Enjoy your drink. Just as he turned around, intending to leave, I spoke up. Wait. Do Tudang's spine stiffened slightly as he turned back to ask, Is there anything else you need? Sir, I picked up a spoon and stirred gently inside the coffee cup. I want to ask, when you became Lu Nuyin's lover, did you know she already had a fiancé? Do Tudang froze in place, his face turning pale green. When his mother was diagnosed with leukemia, the moment he felt his world collapsing, it was Lu Nuyin who stepped forward to support him, arranging the best hospital for his mother, finding specialist doctors, and paying the exorbitant medical bills. Do Tudang thought the Snow White of his life had finally appeared. Right at the moment, he was overjoyed. The other party unexpectedly handed over an agreement forcing him to dress according to someone else's preferences, making him put on makeup, forcing him to like the things that person liked, forcing him to play the role of a substitute. Do Tudang felt the sky collapse once again, but he could not refuse. He had no way to refuse Lu Nuyin. She was his mother's life-saving benefactor, and the girl deep inside his heart. So Do Tudang thought, why not just be a bit selfish during the time that person was away, stay by Lu Nuyin's side. But unknown to him from what point on, that boundary had been shattered. Lu Nuyin treated him better and better, taking him to meet friends and sisters, and he himself grew increasingly reliant on her. If not for my appearance, Do Tudang would have vaguely believed that he was truly the person in Lu Nuyin's heart. Seeing this look of his, is there anything else unclear to me? I let out a mocking scoff. So you were in a state of knowing Lu Nuyin already had a fiancé, but still agreed to be her lover. Do Tudang turned pale across his entire face, his eye sockets hollow, as if his self-esteem had been trampled into the dirt underfoot. But I didn't stop at all, continuing to interrogate. Do you know that me and Lu Nuyin, it wasn't an arranged marriage by our parents, rather because both sides genuinely liked each other, cherished each other, and reached engagement voluntarily. No. Do Tudang clenched his fists tightly, enduring humiliation inside his head as he suddenly recalled one time Lu Nuyin got drunk and came to find him, her mouth endlessly murmuring the name Tranfan. Just finished serving customers Jiaocam, intended to come over to chat with Do Tudang. Seeing him standing there with a face drained of color, she furrowed her brows, just about to step over when she heard customers mentioning Lu Nuyin's name, looking at the other person's attire, which was full of designer brands. Jiaocam assumed it was some rich young master who secretly fancied Lu Nuyin and came here to pick a fight with the righteous boyfriend, who was Do Tudang. So she hurriedly made a phone call to Lu Nuyin. When Lu Nuyin picked up the phone, she was with Bak Ngungbang. Seeing Lu Nuyin's unusual expression, Bak Ngungbang asked, "What's wrong?" Lu Nuyin furrowed her brows. Jiaocam called, saying someone is looking for Do Tudang and causing trouble. Bak Ngungbang's complexion looked somewhat unpleasant. You still haven't made a clean break with him. Yet Lu Nuyin's complexion was also unpleasant. That day she intended to go and make everything clear with Do Tudang. Who would have thought she'd encounter the health condition? Yu Ruyan's expression also looked terrible that day. She intended to go and clear things up with Do Tudang, but unexpectedly ran into the scene where his condition, Do Tudang's mother, suddenly took a turn for the worse, forcing her to stay with him for another night. And the words she meant to say never got the chance to be uttered. Seeing Lu Nuyin's expression, Bak Ngungbang's complexion also darkened. You don't mean to say you're planning to go over there, right? Me. That is Do Tudang's cousin, Lu. Nuyin's face was dead serious. Bak Ngungbang had met Do Tudang's cousin once before, a total scumbag gambler who frequently came to demand money from Do Tudang and even beat him up. I'll go with you. The coffee shop where Do Tudang worked part-time wasn't too far from Lu Nuyin's company. Driving about 10 minutes, the two of them arrived outside the shop. I and Do Tudang were still standing in a stalemate. Brother Do, what will it take for you to finally leave my fiancé alone? Do Tudang's expression stiffened. He gripped his apron tightly for a long time before he could squeeze out a single sentence. Mr. Tran, I really need money. I raised an eyebrow. How much do you need? I can give it to you. Zhang Yao, watching from afar and seeing Do Tudang on the verge of tears, hurriedly ran over and smiled as she looked at me. Handsome, do you want to order anything else? I glanced at her, then completely ignored her and continued looking straight at Do Tudang. Brother Do, you stay by Lu Nuyin's side purely for money, right? That sum of money. Can give it to you. I only hope you'll stay away from her. Do Tudang lowered his head, tears welling up at the brim. Zhang Yao, upon hearing this, felt her anger instantly flare up. She hated rich people, the absolute most, always using money to bully others. Hey, what kind of talk is that? Can money? My love, our Tudang didn't stay with CEO Lu for money, all right? Between them is true love. What the hell are you anyway? What right do you have to force someone's legitimate boyfriend to leave, huh? Do Tudang frantically tugged at Zhang Yao's sleeve. I sneered. Legitimate boyfriend? You're out here playing homewrecker with someone else's partner, yet you have the nerve to say that. Zhang Yao couldn't stomach that sarcastic tone and stepped right up, blocking directly in front of Do Tudang. Who the hell are you anyway? Don't think just because you have a few filthy bucks, you're hot shit. You think we're scared of you? Zhang Yao's loud voice caused everyone else inside the coffee shop to turn and look. Who am I? Oh, could it be this esteemed Mr. Do didn't tell you the story. I happen to be the fiancé of the CEO. Lu in your mouth. Zhang Yao opened her mouth to retort, only to suddenly realize what I had just said. She froze, standing rooted to the spot. Fiancé. That's right, Lu Nuyin and I have loved each other for 7 years and got engaged 3 years ago. Why on earth wouldn't I know Lu Nuyin even had a legitimate boyfriend? Zhang Yao sluggishly turned to look at Do Tudang, discovering that Do Tudang's complexion was pale white. He still stood rooted to the spot without the slightest intention of speaking up to refute it. Zhang Yao's heart grew icy cold. Continued speaking. Not for money. As far as I know, Mr. Doe is still a student, right? The expenses from the time Mr. Doe's mother entered the hospital until treatment must have cost at least hundreds of thousands. Would Mr. Doe dare to claim that money wasn't forked out by Liu Nuyin? If not, then under what status does Mr. Doe presume to spend Liu Nuyin's money, I wonder? The customers inside the coffee shop were all shocked, gossiping over this side. Is this a drama of the main wife tearing apart the mistress? Absolutely too spectacular. Just as Liu Nuyin and Bak Ngungbang walked in, they only saw Do Tudang lowering his head with tears smeared across his cheeks, while I was blocked from view by Zhang Yao Solu. Nuyin completely couldn't see me. Seeing this scene, her anger flared up, and she rushed straight over, pulling Do Tudang close. Who is bullying you? Zhang Yao, hearing the sound, turned around. Liu Nuyin also just happened to look up, her gaze coincidentally meeting mine, because Zhang Yao was standing sideways, exposing my line of sight. Liu Nuyin froze dead in her tracks. Recovering her senses, she hurriedly and forcefully shoved Do Tudang's hand away. Do Tudang was flung heavily against the nearby table. He looked at Liu Nuyin in sheer disbelief. I bitterly smiled. Is this what you meant when you told me to give you another chance, that you'd handle things cleanly? Liu Nuyin hurriedly took 2 steps forward. It's not like that, Tranfan. Didn't. But just as she tried to approach, I immediately stood up and backed away. Don't come over here. Liu Nuyin, I am too disappointed in you. You genuinely make me feel repulsed. After speaking, I grabbed the cup of coffee right in my hand and dashed it straight into Liu Nuyin's face, then decisively turned around and walked away. Suddenly, Liu Nuyin reached out to wipe the coffee off her face, intending to chase after me, but was blocked by Bak Ngungbang. Don't agitate him any further. I'm worried something might happen to him. Liu Nuyin blinked, growing even more anxious, wanting to chase after him, yet not daring to. Bak Ngungbang said again, let me go check on him. Worry about solving your own mess first. Watching the back of Bak Ngungbang as she chased after me and left Liu Nuyin's heart plunged into an excruciating agony. Zhang Yao stood right there, her complexion somewhat unsightly. Her friend, the person she had assumed to be innocent and pure, had actually gone and played the mistress, and what's more, was a bona fide green tea bitch. Do Tudang staggeringly steadied himself, just about to chase after her, when he caught the icy gaze unleashed by Liu Nuyin, making his heart sink with a heavy thud. Liu Nuyin coldly looked at Do Tudang, her tone carrying a hint of hatred. From now on, never show your face in front of me again, and never show your face in front of him either. Having said that, Liu Nuyin turned on her heel and walked straight away. At this moment, the people inside the coffee shop looked at Do Tudang with gazes full of contempt, especially the regular customers who had before thought this young boy was a well-behaved and gentle student, never expecting his schemes to be so high level. Do Tudang, upon hearing Liu Nuyin's merciless words, felt as though his heart had been pierced right through. He painfully clutched his chest, expecting someone to come and comfort him. But after a very long time, not a single sound came. He couldn't help turned to look at Zhang Yao, only to find that Zhang Yao, who knows since when, had already returned to the bar counter and started busily attending to customers. Bak Ngungbang caught up to me, pulled me close, and reached out to hail a taxi before long, bringing me back to her apartment. As soon as we stepped into the apartment, I abruptly stopped in my tracks. Bak Ngungbang, who was pulling my hand ahead, saw this and also stopped. What's wrong? Fan. I violently lunged into the arms of the person in front of me to let her hold me, sobbing softly. Bak Ngungbang paused for a moment and spread her arms to hug me tightly. I slowly uttered, Bak Ngungbang, do I only have you left now? Don't be sad. You still have me. I stayed over at Bak Ngungbang's place for yet another night. The next day, just like before, I left breakfast behind and departed. When I finally turned home, I discovered that my pocket mysteriously contained an extra set of keys. I curved the corner of my mouth slightly. Looks like a fish has taken the bait. I stroked the book, placed on the nightstand, drew out my phone and sent. So, Odu a text message. Ms. So I've finished reading the book. When you're free, I'd like to treat you to a meal and return the book at the same time. When So Odu received the message, she was listening to her assistant report on work. Hearing the phone ring, Assistant San froze for a moment and somewhat nervously glanced at her boss before fishing her own phone out of her pocket, sneakily checking it, to find no messages at all. While the assistant was still in a daze, she saw her boss pick up her phone and open WeChat. So Auda saw the text message and slightly raised an eyebrow. The assistant quietly stood respectfully to the side, waiting for the boss to reply to the message, her heart filled with utmost shock. She had been assisting the boss for 5 years, yet had never seen the boss use WeChat so much. I was extremely shocked. He had been an assistant to the boss for 5 years already and had never seen the boss use WeChat, obviously just 30-something years old. Yet acting like a grumpy old man past 50. At this very moment, watching the boss clutching his phone and texting the assistant, furrowed her brows with a bit of curiosity, wondering who the person on the other end of the line could be. While I was texting to flirt with So Odu, I was also hands-on and preparing for my own art exhibition. Thanks to the efforts back abroad, my reputation skyrocketed overnight. As soon as word got out that I was about to organize an exhibition, quite a few people came forward, offering sponsorship. I was busy taking care of preparing for the art exhibition, while also arranging the completed paintings as display pieces, just wanting to calm my mind and finish painting that starry sky. I only needed to paint a few more pieces to officially open the exhibition, and I was really eager to paint the starry sky. Right at that moment, So Oda was chatting with me, hearing that I was about to organize an exhibition and was currently preparing to paint the starry sky. She called me directly on the phone. Upon receiving the call, I was a little surprised, but what kind of starry sky can you even see in the city anyway? I have zero interest in painting it. So Oda raised an eyebrow, her tone carrying a hint of enticement. I know a place where you can watch a breathtaking starry sky. My voice instantly lit up. Really? So Odu curved her lips slightly. Want to go? So smiled as she opened her schedule book to check her free time slots, seeming to have seen right through my thoughts. Her tone carried a hint of ambiguity. How about I treat Ms. So to dinner instead, and Missa So takes me stargazing? How does that sound? So Audu completely refused to give face. That dinner you owe me from last time hasn't even been treated yet, you know. I curled my lips. Then let's save it for next time. True to her word, walked straight over to her place. As soon as I stepped into the company lobby, So Odu already had a female assistant wearing glasses, standing by ready. The moment she saw me, she approached, politely asking, "Hello, Mr. Tran. I am CEO So's assistant. CEO So is waiting for you at the parking lot. Let me guide you down there." The assistant smiled, her expression very gentle, but inside she couldn't help screaming. No wonder her dry old-fashioned boss could clutch that phone without letting go. This guy was genuinely a top-tier male god, thank you. I smiled faintly, then followed the assistant toward the elevator, catching a sidelong glance at the gossipy look of the receptionists. Getting into So Odu's car, I leaned back in my seat, evaluating everything. A glance, and finally pulled a scented sachet, a small peace talisman, out of my bag, neatly hanging it up inside her car. So Odu observed my action, his casual demeanor, as if treating this as her own personal property. Not only did she not get angry, but instead she curved her lips into a soft smile. She started the car. That place was a resort, and furthermore, it was a resort that hadn't finished construction yet, just as they were about to arrive. So Odu turned her head to glance at the man sitting quietly in the passenger seat. "Aren't you afraid I'll take you away and sell you?" I looked away from my phone screen toward So Dugu. How much is someone like me even worth anyway? Though I suppose I do have some value. I chuckled, letting my gaze wander across the scenery along the road. This place isn't open for business yet, is it? So Odu nodded. That's right, so you are the very first guest here. Who wouldn't want to be someone special? Hearing this, I genuinely felt very happy inside. I seriously and carefully observed this resort. The architecture was very pleasing to the eye, blending distinctive ethnic elements. The houses here were all high-stilt loft styles, and all of them were built entirely of real wood looking, extremely exquisite. The car stopped beside a large lake. I stepped out of the car, and what struck my eyes was a lotus pond, with leaves covering the entire water surface. I turned to say, Usoda, we should have waited until June to come here. When the time comes, I'll bring you here again. So Oduo handed the car keys over to the manager in charge of the area. It was built with real wood looking, extremely exquisite. The car stopped beside a large lake. I stepped out of the car, and hitting my eyes was a lotus pond, with leaves covering the water's surface. I turned to say, Usoda, that we should have waited until June for him to come here, and by then would bring you again. So Odu handed the car keys. The manager in charge of the area, Ara, then lowered her voice in a deep tone to instruct them to thoroughly clean the house in the middle of the lake. Once that was settled, so Odu took a casual stride forward to stand beside me. The night sky here is very beautiful. Feel free to take your time admiring it tonight. I turned my head to look at her, my eyes overflowing with amusement. Then thank you, CEO. So Odu smiled, walking side by side with me and starting to introduce the origin and unique features of this resort. That's why many people working inside here are locals who've lived in this village all along. I looked at So Odu in surprise. So Odu nodded. That's right. I bought back their land. Now they rent my houses, live in while simultaneously opening shops to do business and make money right here. That's much more efficient than me having to go recruit new employees. So Odu gazed at the nearly completed resort, smiled faintly and said, they will cherish and protect this land better than any other employees of mine. CEO So is truly someone who really knows how to do business. How about you teach me, CEO? So Odu looked at the man standing before her. All right, but you have to pay tuition. As if you're short on this bit of money. So Odu stared intently into my crystal clear eyes, the corners of her lips curving up into a bewitching smile. Who said tuition is money? Raised an eyebrow, seemingly feeling intrigued. Oh, so what do you want? So Odu kept silent for a long time, waiting until she had successfully hooked enough of the other's curiosity before dropping the words, I'll let you know later. It's go time to eat. With that, she strode off toward the restaurant not far away. I don't know how I wandered around earlier, but my heart stubbornly wanted to follow her footsteps toward the restaurant. Tell me first, and I'll tell you later. After we finished eating, it was already pitch dark. I was planning to take a stroll around the lake to digest the food when I was gently tapped on the head by So Odu. Just as I turned my head over, So Odu happened to lean in close and whispered into my ear, lift your head up and look. The moment I looked up, I was struck with utter astonishment. The vast, boundless night sky was filled with tens of thousands of brilliant stars, resembling large and small pearls scattered, sparkling across a jade platter. They shone brilliantly and splendidly. Ever since returning from the resort trip, So Odu dove headfirst back into her busy work. I also understood that our current relationship level was temporarily sufficient, so I did not proactively contact her anymore. In return lately, I had been frequently chatting with Liu Nuyin and Bak Ngungbang. Liu Nuyin seemed genuinely eager to make amends. She continuously sent flowers to the apartment where I was living every single day. Without fail, regardless of whether I responded or not, she regularly sent text messages morning and evening to check in and show concern. Looking at the inbox, blowing up with all sorts of messages, I slightly raised an eyebrow, turned off the phone screen, and continued painting to prepare the artworks for the exhibition. In truth, I had been back in the country for some time already, Tran's parents hadn't seen me go pay respects to the Liu family yet, so they vaguely sensed something was abnormal and urged me to hurry over and greet the elders of the Liu family, as well as schedule a reunion dinner between both families. Cornered, I had no choice but to obey, packing up the gifts brought back from abroad and driving the Liu family villa. The Tran and Liu houses originally weren't very far apart. Driving took about half an hour to arrive. Before leaving, I had intentionally called to inform Liu's parents naturally. I knew full well they would definitely report it back to Liu Nuyin, while whether Liu Nuyin was home or not was completely none of my concern. Young Master Tran has arrived. The butler, upon seeing me step inside, immediately broke into a radiant smile. He still remembered the grand engagement party from a few years ago vividly, and remained firmly convinced that young Master Tran and their young miss were truly a match made in heaven. Uncle Liu, are the two elders home? Yes, they are. Please come. I carried several gift boxes and stepped inside. Whether they were at home or not was completely none of my business. Care about. Young Master Chen has arrived. The butler, upon seeing me step in, already had a radiant smile blooming on his face. Ever since the lavish engagement party a few years ago, he still remembered it vividly and always firmly believed that young Master Chen and his master's young miss were truly a match made in heaven. Uncle Liu, are the elders home? Yes, indeed. Please come in. I carried several gift boxes inside. Upon stepping inside and casting a glance over, I saw Liu's mother sitting and watching TV in the living room. Hello, Auntie. Hearing my voice, Liu's mother immediately jumped to her feet, still not forgetting to reach out and press pause on the palace drama she was watching. Halfway hurriedly hurrying over to welcome me. Oh my, your coming is already a precious honor. Why bother bringing so many gifts? You're being way too polite. I politely smiled and offered the gifts in my hands. Just a small token of sincerity for you, Auntie. When I saw this silk scarf while abroad, I immediately thought it was born just for you. So before coming back, I specially bought it. The silk scarf I brought back was from a luxury domestic brand. Extremely scarce. Liu's mother saw the color. It happened to be her favorite shade of purple. Her mouth curved into a satisfied grin, unable to stop turning upward. Oh my goodness, way over there, and you still always think of me. I put on an obedient expression. How could I not? I also brought gifts for Uncle too. He's in the study upstairs and will be right down in a moment. When I saw you last time, I didn't get a good look. Why, you look like you've lost so much weight. Were you not used the food over there? Well, sort of. Just sometimes craving the flavors of home. That's all. After the two of them sat in the living room chatting for a long while without seeing Liu's father come down, they saw Liu Nuyin step in from outside. Liu's mother saw her daughter hugging a huge bouquet of flowers and couldn't help teasing her. You come home so many times and have never bought flowers for your mother once, but the moment you heard my child arrived, you immediately hugged flowers and rushed right back. Talk about having a husband and completely forgetting about your birth mother. Liu Nuyin stepped closer and handed the fresh bouquet of flowers to me to save face for Liu's mother. Sitting right there, I reluctantly accepted it. But the moment I turned around, I shoved the roses right toward Liu's mother. Then how about borrowing flowers to present to the Buddha so I can make you happy instead, Auntie? Liu's mother, who was purposely trying to keep a stern face, burst into a radiant smile upon hearing me say that. Of course, raising a son is always so much more heartwarming. I smiled to reply. My parents said both families should have dinner together tonight, since Nuyin is already back. Shall we head out right now for convenience? Liu's mother nodded in agreement, placed the bouquet on the tea table and said, let me go upstairs, call his father down. Waiting until Liu's mother's figure disappeared behind the stairs, the smile on my lips likewise vanished instantly. Liu Nuyin suddenly squatted down in front of me, tightly gripping my hands. I tried pulling my hands away several times without success, so I just had to let her be. I really have nothing to do with him anymore. Won't you stop being mad at me? I couldn't even be bothered to look at her once nor deign to utter a single word. Liu Nuyin hurriedly and earnestly continued, I swear I've completely cut ties with him already. You have to believe me, Tranfan, from beginning to end. The only person I've ever loved is you. It's just because I missed you so much that I did such a foolish thing. Won't you understand me, please? I promise you, absolutely. I will never have anything to do with him again. Even his contact info, I've completely blocked. It's true. Please believe me. I admit my fault lies with me. I know I was way too wrong. I only beg you to give me a chance to make amends, to give our 7-year love one more chance. Seeing the other person. Rambling on quite a bit, I was about to open my mouth to say a few yielding words when I heard the footsteps of Lu's parents. The two of them had walked down from upstairs to right here. Liu Nuyin heard the sound without showing any panic, calmly standing up and sitting right up close beside me. Her hand still firmly grasping mine without letting go. Lu's parents walked over, and right before their eyes was the sight of the young couple, sitting glued to each other's hands, tightly holding hands, showing an extremely intimate state of affection. Lu's mother covered her mouth with a chuckle while Lu's father tried to maintain a stern expression, though the depths of his eyes still revealed bubbling joy. Mother. Lu covered her mouth and chuckled while Father Lu tried to keep a stern expression, but joy still showed deep in his eyes to conceal it. I decisively shook Liu Nuyin's hand off, hurriedly stood up and bowed my head to greet Aunt Lu. Aunt Lu, pensive, and nodded, exchanging a few more polite pleasantries. Liu Nuyin also stood up. Let's go. Mom sit in her car with her. Fan ride in the same car with me. Regarding this arrangement, nobody raised any objections, so everyone set off together. I quietly sat in the passenger seat. This feeling was completely different compared to when sitting in So Odu's car. Back then, I felt free and unrestrained, with a relaxed mind, comfortably letting go of my body naturally. But now, my face was cold as ice, to clearly show my attitude that I was still pissed off. I leaned back against the seat, turned my face to stare straight out the window, not sparing Liu Nuyin even a single glance. I heard you're about to open an art exhibition. Do you need me to pitch in and help with anything? Liu Nuyin continuously nudged closer, deliberately striking up a conversation topic. I gazed at the bustling crowd moving back and forth outside the car window, feeling somewhat hazy. Sometimes it felt like this world was too vast and boundless, making myself so insignificant that I could be completely forgotten. There were also times when I doubted the true existence of myself in this mortal world, even though sinking into endless deep thoughts. I still didn't forget to drop a reply back to Liu Nuyin. No need. My tone was interspaced with a bit of full detachment. Liu Nuyin was a bit flustered and panicked, but still carefully probed to bring up 2 or 3 more topics. However, all she got in return were a few perfunctory cold hums and haws. Arriving at the restaurant for dinner right before the moment of opening the car door, I turned my head to look straight at Liu Nuyin. Liu Nuyin, a promise isn't just for show. You begged me to grant you a chance, so you have to use actual actions to prove it. You have to let me clearly see your determination, to see how capable you are of making it a reality, instead of just sweet-talking into my ears. Isn't that right? Liu Nuyin was momentarily dazed, her entire person stunned. This 7-year-long romance, I wasn't willing either to let it end in such a vague way. I hope you won't make me disappointed one more time. With that said, I unbuckled my seatbelt and pushed the door open to step out of the car. At the dining table, both families, I inevitably could not avoid discussing the major life events of the 2 kids. Previously, because Xiaofan was still studying abroad. Now that he has returned, how about we pick an auspicious day and settle the marriage matters first? Makes total sense, better than the situation where the 2 of them were separated in different places. Now that both are reunited in one spot, we really should plan for the wedding. That's right, the age of the 2 kids isn't small anymore either. It's also reaching the age to settle down and get married. That's right, the age. The two kids isn't small anymore either. It's also about time. Lu's father turned his head to look at us youngsters. What do the two of you think? I lightly licked my lips. I feel like it's a bit. Before the word early could completely escape my mouth, was cut off by Liu Nuyin. We completely agree to follow the arrangements of Mom, Dad, and the two elders. I turned my head to glare at Liu Nuyin. A radiant smile was blooming on her face, while her hand from under the table slid over to grip my hand tightly. I intentionally jerked my hand away a few times, but failing to do so, I ended up frowning in annoyance. Yet ultimately, I still remained silent without uttering a denial. The icy layer at the bottom of my eyes had begun to melt. Liu Nuyin saw that I didn't utter a single word of refusal regarding the marriage, and in her heart, she couldn't suppress her joy. Her face finally opened up into a smile that was truly the most sincere. Throughout these past few days, the parents of both families looked down at the two kids, one shyly hanging her head down, the other affectionately gazing at the other person with a slight smile. Without anyone having to prompt anyone, they all burst out laughing happily, then eagerly continued, discuss the wedding plans. I see next month has a few great auspicious days. Next month is way too rushed, there's no time to prepare. That's true as well, July. The utmost sincerity. Over the past few days, the parents from both families looked down at the two kids, one shyly lowering her head, and the other infatuatedly gazing at the other with a smirk. Without anyone telling them, they all burst into joyful laughter. Then eagerly continued discussing wedding plans. I checked next month and there are a few auspicious days. Next month is too rushed, we won't have time to prepare. That's true. July is wonderful. The weather is also cool and pleasant until the time I was brought back home. I still had no idea what time the two families had fixed for the wedding. The matter of the two families discussing the marriage was not kept secret at all. So very quickly, many people found out. Bach Ngungbang at this time was sitting drinking alcohol in a bar. She knew full well that her current emotional state was highly unstable, but she didn't want to restrain herself and just wanted to let loose. When Zhang Yao stepped inside and saw Bach Ngungbang drinking alone to drown her sorrows, she was somewhat startled. Old Bai, what's wrong with you? Bach Ngungbang curved the corner of her mouth. Oh right, she got what's coming to her. Tranfan and Liu Nuyin are getting married. Isn't she as a good friend of them both supposed to be happy? Yet Bach Ngungbang couldn't feel a single ounce of happiness within herself, even in her mind. Right now, it was flooded with images of the times spent alone with me. She knew her state of mind was not normal. She didn't even know, and this romantic sentiment had sprouted from before I went abroad. Until the time I returned, Bach Ngungbang didn't know, and also couldn't suppress it. By the time she realized it in time, she had already begun to feel agonizing pain over the news of my upcoming marriage. Discovering something unusual. Chang Yao couldn't help asking, what on earth is wrong with you? Anyway, you look like you just got dumped. Bach Ngungbang didn't say anything, nor did she deny it. Chang Yao was originally going to make a joke. When she suddenly realized something, she startled, jumped back a step, and looked at Bach Ngungbang with eyes gazing at a monster. No way, seriously, you actually got dumped? Since when? Who is it? Do I know them? Did you dump them, or did they dump you? Bach Ngungbang curved the corner of her mouth. Dumped? We never even started. How could there be? From the very beginning, I never even had a single chance. Thinking of the way I hugged her that very day, Bach Ngungbang tilted her head back and drained a glass of alcohol in one gulp. Zhang Yao, seeing that the situation was bad, hurriedly snatched away her glass of alcohol. Hey, whatever's going on, talk it out slowly. If you don't tell me, how can I help you solve it? Just drinking to drown your sorrows like this is useless. Bach Ngungbang had no more alcohol to drink, only lowering her head in silence without speaking. Zhang Yao, seeing this, let out a long sigh, and wanting to change the subject, blurted out a question. Tranfan and Liu Nuyin are about to get married. Did you know about this? Unexpectedly, Tranfan actually didn't mind it at all. I remember he was gentle yet always a man of principle. The things Liu Nuyin did weren't even human actions, yet he easily forgave her like that. Waiting for a long while without hearing any reply, she turned her head to look at Bak Ngungbang. Noticing Bak Ngungbang's complexion was looking even more unsightly. Suddenly, an absurd thought flashed through her mind. She let it slip straight out. The person you're talking about couldn't possibly be Tranfan, could it? Bak Ngungbang didn't refute, freezing for 3 seconds. Zhang Yao jumped up. It's really him. Seriously? Since when? How come I didn't know? When did the two of you get entangled? Tugging at her own hair, Zhang Yao refuted her own words. That's not right. Tranfan spent all these past few years abroad and you didn't even go on business trips during those years. There's no way you could have gotten involved with him. He clearly liked Liu Nuyin so much, plus he genuinely treated you as a good friend. All the more reason he couldn't cross this boundary, unless... Zhang Yao turned to look at Bak Ngungbang, who had now lifted her head up and firmly spoke up. Bak Ngungbang still didn't refute. Zhang Yao turned around and kicked hard at the trash can, cursing with a familiar phrase. Told by their wedding date has already been fixed and settled. July. They're getting married in July. What on earth are you thinking? Bak Ngungbang grabbed her glass of alcohol and once again tilted her head back to make herself drunk. This time, Zhang Yao didn't stop her anymore. Zhang Yao walked over and sat down beside Bak Ngungbang, letting out a sigh. Drink up. Once you finish drinking, today, let it go and move on. Bak Ngungbang drank glass after glass to the bottom, as if thinking that just by getting drunk these torments would cease to exist. Those harsh realities would no longer be true either. Zhang Yao sighed right beside her, offering comfort. At first, she advised Bak Ngungbang to let go. But later on her advice shifted into something else. You shouldn't be too heartbroken either. Those two haven't actually gotten married yet, and who knows, maybe one day Liu Nuyin will foolishly run off to look for Do Tudang again, and if she does, Tranfan definitely won't forgive her anymore either. Thank you so much for